A gunman in Nova Scotia carried out an absolutely horrific mass murder. The worst in Canadian history. 22 people were killed. In the aftermath, in a rush to do something, I guess, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced that Canada would be banning certain guns. Assault-style rifles is what he called them. In the almost 6 years since, it has been a series of, setbacks, delays, postponements, revisions, amendments, alterations, and expansion. It's been a circus, frankly. At the time of the announcement back in 2020, it was 1,500 models of, like I say, assault-style rifles that were going to be banned. The government was going to launch a buyback program. They were going to deal with it, and that would be the end of it. Didn't make it happen, as I say. So now we're into a situation where it has become 2,500 firearms on the list. And I imagine it just continues to grow because we've talked before about it here. And the exact same model of rifle, if it's black or gunmetal or wrapped in camo, becomes different, and one is okay and one isn't. That's how crazy it's gotten. So it was supposed to come into effect a long time ago, where it would be illegal to have one of these guns. You had to surrender to the government. They would compensate you and they would destroy it. They couldn't figure out how to make that work, so they put in extensions on amnesties. We're going to put amnesties in. Okay. The latest amnesty is set to expire in the next month, October the 30th. So then what? More extensions, buybacks? Minister says, I think so. I think we're going to have to extend it because we're still not ready. I had a chance to speak with Wes Winkel about this earlier this morning. Wes is president of the Canadian Sporting Arms and Ammunition Association and has been just watching with dismay as this thing has gone on now for over 5 years. The amnesty set to expire October 30th, so we're, call it 6 weeks out. Already, the government has said when that extension ends, they're going to have to bring in another one, right? Like, we're not to the end of this. It's just going to be kicked down the road again, isn't it?
There is no choice, sir. It will have to be.
How close are we? I mean, is this just going to be the process? It seems like we've been doing this for years. Is this just where we're going to be? Do you think they'll ever be able to sort this out, Wes?
Well, ever's a very long time, and I do believe that there is some wheels in motion to sort this out. The problem is that it's a fractured process. It won't be the same process, I don't believe, across the country. There's just they have some willing police partners or some willing law enforcement partners and some very unwilling ones. So they have to use some different processes in different parts of the country. We, of course, as an association, are involved with the dealer portion, which has been opened up. But with the individual, or what they like to call phase two, there is many challenges, especially with the rural nature of Canada and how spread out these firearms are. Yeah,
like you say, that's an important distinction, right? There is the dealer side of this, and that's a little farther down the road. It's the individual owners that they seem to be unable to sort through.
Absolutely. The dealers, because they, are regularly shipping product to and from their stores, there's a little bit more of a structure for that. Whereas from the individual standpoint, there's a lot more moving parts that make it more difficult for them to arrange.
But they have said they're not going to abandon it, right? They are going to continue to try and get it right. Mark Carney said they would reinvigorate the process. So it's not going away, is it?
I don't believe so. I mean, I know that they've had conversations about alternative offers, but it seems like the anti-firearm groups in Canada are quite intent that they expect these firearms to be removed from society. So they do want them to continue to try to find some kind of destruction program.
Mark Carney, he's been in office for less than a year. Has there been a change? Is there a shift at all? Like I say, he said he'd reinvigorate this. Has there been a shift between him? I mean, this was a Justin Trudeau policy, as we well know. Do you see any kind of movement at all now that Carney is sort of running the show?
From what my side and the administrative side, no. We have not seen any more aggression. In fact, it probably has got worse. However, Mark Carney's words are quite positive, and he sounds like he's doing a lot on this file. When you hear him talk about it, when he's interviewed about it, they seem to have a commitment to it. But when all is said and done, it seems like way more is said than done.
Can it be fixed, Wes? That's the question. And you and I have talked about this before. On the surface, I mean, at a foundational level, it seems almost impossible because, I mean, it started at 1,500 models of firearms not that long ago. It's already 2,500. I mean, can it actually be workable? Is there a way to do it?
Well, the short answer is no, but it depends on what you determine success of the program is. If you determine success of the program is that you purchase some firearms and destroy some firearms, and you have a video of those firearms being destroyed, and you can use it for political purposes, and that's your measure of success, then yes, it's possible. If the measure of success is to get all the firearms that are prohibited seized and paid for by Canadian taxpayers, no, that's not possible.
And more, I would say, Wes, actually dealing with gun violence. Like, that's the other issue. This doesn't necessarily... We don't have a gun violence issue with these particular... This is all about the United States and one incident that happened in the Maritimes. We're trying to find a solution for a problem that I think you could argue we've already solved. We have adequate gun control.
Oh, absolutely. The problem is not a control system in the supply chain. The problem is the demand on the criminal side of things. We all know that law-abiding gun owners and licensed gun owners in Canada are not the problem.
Yeah.
We know that our legal supply chain is not the problem at all. We do know that there is a very large criminal supply chain of drugs and guns in Canada, and this does not address it at all. However, to the uneducated voter, it sounds like you're doing something about gun control when you, quote, unquote, ban guns.
Yeah, exactly. It does. I mean, it's gun control. It's a reaction to an absolute tragedy in our country. But the focus, and I think you and I have talked about this before, the focus needs to be on illegal handguns, right? And the criminality of that's where the issue really lies when we talk about gun violence in Canada. That's the issue, not these rifles.
Well, exactly, and we discuss it all the time that every time that there's a discussion about gun control, the discussion is about the restricting the supply of it. However, nobody ever talks about why there's such a demand in the criminal side and why there's so many criminals that are looking for guns. And that's the problem. We all know from the drug file is that as long as there's a demand, there will be a supply. That's the way capitalism works. And we need to find a way to reduce the demand in Canada.
In terms of some of the things the government has done, what would you like to see with this policy? Does it just need to go away? Is that where you're at? I mean, in terms of trying to salvage whatever this is, what would you like to see the government do here? Abandon it altogether?
Absolutely. I would like for the Carney administration to admit that the prohibition under Bill Blair, which we're currently underneath, was a mistake. It was misguided policy, and to reverse it, and to show Canadian firearms industry and legal gun owners that this was a mistake, and with an apology saying that it was a mistake, and to go back to business as usual would be the right course of action. Short of that, if they can put some kind of a grandfathering or something as in short order to make the Canadian gun owners in legal possession of these firearms, that would be wonderful. But that's what has to happen is to acknowledge that this was bad policy from the start. And Bill Blair and his team that put this through initially as a knee-jerk reaction. And if you go back to his words saying that they have done their studies and that this buyback was a plausible solution, I think it's quite clear it was not, and Bill Blair should have his feet held to the fire for it. So
Wes, in the interim, and like we say, the amnesty expires October 30th. The message to gun owners from groups like yours: don't worry about it. There'll be another one. At this point, nothing changes, right?
At this point, nothing changes. There'll be another one. The unfortunate part is that, we still have a large number of Canadians that own millions of dollars of this product and legally license it and legally store it that are not allowed to use it. Yeah. And it remains in their safe, and they haven't been compensated by the Canadian government.
Yeah, what a fiasco. Wes, as always, appreciate the time. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
You bet. Yeah, I don't know if you could mismanagement something more than this has been mismanaged. It really, and like I say, I think it was a rush to appear to be doing something, right? And I think a lot of it was reacting to Australia. They tried to duplicate what happened in Australia because following a horrific mass shooting in Australia, the Australian government brought in a gun buyback program and a ban, and that was it. And I think Justin Trudeau thought, well, let's do that. and it wasn't well thought out, and the process wasn't well defined, and it just turned into whatever you want to call this today, which is kind of, like I say, just right out of control, and they can't seem to figure it out. And Mark Carney, as you heard, didn't say he's going to get rid of it. He's not going to abandon it. His word was reinvigorate the gun buyback program, which needs reinvigoration